Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory as always unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakar Kodash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and shalom to all the Akim that are teaching this word around the globe with faith and truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Caleb from the GMS England London Forecasters Camp, back with another lesson to help edify the Lord's elect. As always, I like to begin by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites, and the real Israelites, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, and West Africans predominantly. However, you will find Israelites that do look like the other nations, because we as a people have been scattered amongst all nations throughout our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible that was named Israel, then you too are an Israelite no matter what you may look like, because the book of Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18 states that your nationality is actually determined by the lineage of your forefathers, okay? Now this is a good lesson to speak on a bit of that, or speak to a bit of that, or on the topic of that. Now, just as a coincidence, I was listening to some music early on this afternoon, and music is something that I'm really into. You know, my interests outside of this truth are pretty much based around the arts, be it visual arts or, you know, music arts. I'm into that kind of stuff. So recently I've been listening to a song that I'm very familiar with, that, you know, was pretty big when I was growing up in the 80s. A song by John Bon Jovi called Living on a Prayer. It's a very famous, very popular song. Pretty badass song if I say so myself. And I was recently listening to it again because I feel like that song title kind of sums up the type of lifestyle we live as men of the Lord, prophets, and of the hopeful elect in this current captivity. We literally are living on a prayer every day. You know, we are at the mercy of our enemies, and it's only through our faith in Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, our prayers, meaning our supplications and our petitions unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, you know, the things that we beg for. That's all we've got, man. All we've got is hope and our prayers and our faith. So that song, Living on a Prayer, by the group Bon Jovi, who the lead singer is John Bon Jovi, who's on the screen here. But yeah, that song resonates with me very strongly. And so recently I've been listening to that quite a bit. And I was listening to a live version of it earlier on today, and I saw this video come up in the search, and I thought, what the hell is this? It says Prince William, Taylor Swift, and Bon Jovi sing Living on a Prayer. And I thought, what the hell is this? This is weird ass shit. Now, the reason why I say it's weird ass shit is because you've got this Prince William up in the mix. I mean, what the fuck's he doing there? Now, I'm going to say this, right? I'm going to say this. Now, I'm going to say this through the Spirit. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But through the Spirit, this is what I perceive. Because I was speaking to another beloved brother in the camp recently about this. And a lot of the most popular musicians, even though they may not look like typical Israelites, be it dark skin, you know, afro type woolly hair, that doesn't mean that they're not Israelites, because Israel is as the sand of the sea. So when you start to really examine a lot of the top musical performers, you start to see, hang on a minute, although they may look like Edomites, some of these people are actually Israelites. Some of them are Jakes. Now, I'm going to say through the Spirit, and I'm saying this pretty much based on my perception of things, being a musician myself, an instrumentalist and stuff, you know. Sometimes you need to have an understanding of things to have an appreciation for things. Now, I'm going to say through the Spirit, I believe that Bon Jovi's a Jake, and I also believe that Taylor Swift's a Jake. Now, even though these people may look like straight up redneck Edomites, if you actually examine their works, there's no way in hell that Esau's going to be putting out music like that. Use Taylor Swift as an example because I was speaking to another beloved brother in the camp about this. And if you was to actually break it down on paper, see, a lot of people just look at Taylor Swift and think, oh, you know, typical, you know, so-called white girl, you know, skinny ass white girl, you know, singing some tunes. But actually, if you really break down what she's doing on a technical level, it's actually quite complex. And There's no other female musician who I can think of who plays the number of instruments that she does, and has also written the amount of material that she has. See, a lot of female singers, they may have a great voice, but that's usually about it. That's usually the extent of where their talent goes, and oftentimes they will have songwriters writing for them. I mean, I'll use Beyonce as a great example. Man, like if you look at some of Beyonce's hits, let's say Sweet Dreams, that song had something like 6 or 7 writers on it. Or what's the other one? Best Thing You Never Had. Again, 6 or 7 writers just to write that song. And Beyonce Knowles herself isn't really a songwriter. She's a great performer. She can dance great. She can hold a note great, but she doesn't write her own material. Likewise, if you look at Whitney Houston, she didn't write her own material, although she had a fantastic voice. She didn't write her own material. So to be a singer-songwriter, I'm going to say that again. To be a singer-songwriter is a very, very niche skill set in the world of performing arts, of music. You have a lot of singers who have fantastic vocal range, fantastic ability with their voice, but they can't actually compose a harmony. See, composing harmonies, that's where the skill of the musical theory and the knowledge of, okay, how do you harmonize this tune? What note do you, like if you're singing a C, what notes would you need to harmonize on a C triad, be it major, minor, or whatever? See, this is where you start to get deep and technical. So this is a lot of the understanding that most of the world doesn't have, because obviously if you never studied music, you wouldn't have an understanding of what the hell's going on, or, you know, what's going on there. So this is why I say to be a singer-songwriter is someone who not only sings the songs, but composes them too. And Taylor Swift is a very rare case where she's written nearly all of her material. Not only that, but she's dropped an album, nearly every year since 2017. And these aren't like, you know, remix joints or little EPs with like 5 tracks. No, these are full-blown fucking 10+ song albums. This girl will be pumping them out. Now, if you take those things into consideration and you put it down on paper, you look at the statistics, I'd say there's no way in hell she's an Edomite. That's just me speaking, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. When Yahweh Shai comes back, all will be revealed. But I mean, you know, there's been other famous Edomite-looking musicians throughout the ages. I mean, like maybe I'll do a video talking about the Carpenters one day. I mean, look, man, I could get into this. This is, you know, getting into music is kind of like my thing. But like, if you look at Karen Carpenter, again, she's someone who looked like, you know, typical skinny little Edomite girl. You know, what's she doing? But hang on a minute. She's one of the very, very few drummers who could actually sing and drum at the same time. Again, that's a very, very niche skill set for a drummer in the world of the performing arts. For example, there's a very, very, very few other performing artists who I'd say were able to do that, and Phil Collins would be one of the few examples that I can think of. Someone who could play the drums whilst actually singing the melody. That's not easy to do at all. And if you've ever tried playing the drums, you know, holding the rhythm is one thing, but then to sing your tune over the top, and if you're singing lead vocals, I mean, you've got drummers who sing backing vocals. I mean, another example of that would be, was it Will Champion from the group Coldplay? While he plays the drums, he sings backing vocals at the same time. But to sing lead vocals and to be playing the drum beat and to be keeping it all on time, that is an incredible skill to have. And Karen Carpenter from the group The Carpenters, she's one of the few people that was able to do that. But again, if you was to look at the outer packaging, if you was just to look at the person, just to look at her, she looked like a straight up Edomite. You know, you never think anything different. But again, sometimes you've got to try the spirit by the spirit, and the things that Jake can do is out there. Right? Now, bringing me back to the topic of this lesson, because I've kind of sidetracked a bit. The topic of this lesson is that you've got this weird juxtaposition of you have John Bon Jovi performing "Living on a Prayer," and it was a different arrangement of it. You know, kind of stripped down, bit more classical version. They had, what is it, violin playing in the background. It sounded good. But for some reason, Prince William was in the audience and Taylor Swift was in the audience, and he called them both up on the stage to sing along with him. Now, here's the funny thing, because the proof is in the pudding, right? Bon Jovi's doing his song, doing his thing. Taylor Swift joins in and she contributes positively to the song. But Prince William literally looks like a duck out of water, man. He looks so fucking stiff and awkward, and you just look at this guy thinking, what the hell are you doing on there, man? But you know what? It goes to show that's the spirit of an Edomite. Because Esau can't be cool, man. Esau can't vibe. Esau's got no flavor. Esau's got no salt. Esau's got no rhythm. Esau can't even dress right, man. No matter what, like you could take the most expensive suit, right? The most expensive suit, tailored to fit and everything like that. Put it on an Edomite, and he'll still look fucking awkward as fuck. But you can take, like, you know, the most casual, you know, just thrown together garment and put it on Jake, and Jake will make it rock, man. Because Jake's got that salt, man. Jake's got the flavor. And what does the scripture say? Israel is the salt of the earth, and Jacob is the former of all things. So I'm not going to play this video, because if I do, I'll probably get a copyright strike, and I don't want to do that. But I'll probably link the video in the description, and you can have a look at it. I mean, it's just a weird performance, man. I mean, to be honest, I don't really think I like it. I like the original version of the song more, but it was just like some weird fucking, how do you say, you know, one of those things where the elites get together and they have their little fucking private parties and shit. It just had that kind of vibe to me, man. And the lighting and everything made it look like they were performing in the depths of hell or some shit like that, man. Now, obviously, we know hell isn't literal in the scriptures, you know. Hell is just an estate, you know, like a low estate. But the way they've got this stage lit up, it looks like flipping hell from Greek mythology. I'm thinking, what the hell's going on with this, man? But the point stands, you know. The point is that the Edomites, they are not the fucking former of all things. And I want to get a little bit deeper on this, because when I was growing up and I was studying music at school, I had to read a lot of textbooks on musical history, and they all said the same thing. They all tried to push the narrative that music was an invention of the Greeks, and they attributed it to a Pythagoras, saying that he was the person that understood intervals and wrote them down and measured the intervals. An interval is basically, for those of you who are not familiar with the technicalities of musical theory, an interval represents a distance. So let me break it down this way. Let's imagine you've got numbers 1 through 10 on a line, a sequential line. So we're going to start from, because I'm from England, so we read from left to right, although, you know, in Hebrew it would be right to left. But just for the sake of this demonstration, let's go with the English way of, or the Western way of counting. So we'll start from the left to the right. So imagine you've got numbers 1 through 10 in a line, sequentially, right? Number 1 being on the left and number 10 being on the far right. In musical theory, an interval is the distance between two notes. So let's say the first note you're going to play starts on number 1. Yeah? Let's say I wanted to play a note on number 3. The distance between 1 to 3 is what? So you'd say, well, how do you get from 1 to 3? You need to add 2 to 1 to get 3, right? So the interval between 1 and 3 would be 2. I hope this explanation makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain it without actually playing a note or writing it down on paper so you can actually visually see what I'm trying to explain. But an interval just represents the distance between notes. So in the lie textbooks that they had me reading when I was at school, they said that it was Pythagoras, the Greek is a Greek philosopher, a Greek mathematician, whatever. They said it was he who came up with the measurements for intervals. But I can cut that shit right there, because Pythagoras lived during the Greek Empire. But intervals were known about from way before that, because what did the scriptures say? The scriptures say that King David played the harp. Now, the Greek Empire came after the Babylonian, the Medo-Persian, the Assyrian. Then you had the Greek Empire. So you're telling me in all those other empires there was no music? That's bullshit. The scriptures tell us otherwise, because what? Didn't King Nebuchadnezzar threaten to throw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the midst of a fiery furnace because they wouldn't do what? They would not bow down and worship his image when the sound of the music played. See? So the scriptures lets us know that Esau's a fucking liar, man. Esau is a fucking liar, because he keeps trying to say, oh yeah, well, you know, the Greeks invented this and the Greeks invented that. They try to attribute every great thing that ever happened in history to the Greek Empire, because they're trying to inflate themselves. You know, they don't really talk much about kingdoms prior to the Greeks. When you go to school over here in the UK, they teach you about what? The Roman Empire. As if that was the start of civilization, but it weren't. So they're fucking liars, right? So, back to the point. If these Edomites were indeed the people who, you know, invented all these musical tunes and harmonies and shit, why is it that most of the music that's produced today that actually resonates with people comes from Jake? And I said this before, but even fucking that country music and shit, you know, there's a lot of Jakes up in there writing and performing that shit, even though they may look like redneck Edomites. So you can't really you got to be more spiritual when you're assessing these things, because, you know, if you was to just look at outward appearance, it would appear, oh yeah, these Edomites did this and these Edomites did that. But hang on a minute, no, these people that look like Edomites and that is actually successful and actually popping in the industry, a lot of them are Jakes, man. A lot of them are Jakes. Anyway, so I'll probably put a link to this in the description so that people can go and watch it themselves. But my point stands that, you know, Bon Jovi can hold a tune, Taylor Swift can hold a tune, Prince William, with all his fucking, you know what, stiff upper lip, Eton, Oxford, Cambridge, wherever it was they go to these high class schools, all that fucking education couldn't get this guy to fucking be able to even move in rhythm, man. Imagine that. You're going to the most prestigious fucking schools, getting the best quality of education, so called. And you got Jake, who's fucking no education. You got Jake who fucking bomb at school, no education, but they can come out and still do the most creative things. Be it dance creatively, be it sing creatively, be it, you know, act creatively. We've just got that talent, man. It's just within us. And it's kind of funny because it's really, really funny because speaking of myself, when it comes to music and shit, it's something that it was just in me. And when I would go and go into the school system and they'd try and teach you the Edomite way of fucking doing things, to me it just seemed backwards and retarded. And I come away from that and I just do my own thing, obviously within the rules of what works in terms of harmony and stuff, but I do it my way and put my own flavor to it, and then it just all works. But when I try and do it the stiff way of, like, you know, way Esau does it, it just takes all the soul out of it, man. See, this is the thing. Jake's got soul, man. Jake's got rhythm. Jake's got flow. Jake's got flavor. Esau ain't got none of that shit. All Esau's got is fucking enmity and hatred and a lust for the shedding of blood. When it comes to being creative and I'm going to use the words like poetic and dramatic and eloquent and articulate and thoughtful. I mean, even like philosophy and stuff. A lot of that came from us Jakes, man. The deep pondering thoughts. And Esau's not that deep, man. Esau really ain't that deep. All Esau is a liar and a thief, man. A liar and a thief, and he ain't got no fucking talent. So yeah, man, for real. Very, very interesting thing that I stumbled across here and seeing that. But I've been speaking a lot. Let me get some scriptures rather than be just talking out of my own opinion. Let me get some scriptures. Bear me, I'm pulling some up here. Oh, I had one right there. Can I go back to that? Yeah, let's see if I can go back to that. Look, I literally just opened up the scriptures and it was right on one at some point. So let's get this. Let's go to Psalms 149. Psalms 149. Verse 1. Praise ye Yahweh, sing unto Yahweh a new song, and his praise in the congregations of saints. So we're supposed to sing joyful sounds unto the Lord, man. That was our blessing, man. And that's why, even though we're in our lowest state, we've still got the most beautiful voices of all the nations. We are the salt of the earth, man. Let's get that one. Matthew 5 verse 13. It says, ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savour, wherewith shall it be salted? It is therefore good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of men. Now, when it says we're the salt of the earth, it's talking about us having this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of this truth. This is what really sets us apart from the other nations. Okay, being able to sing great is good. Being able to dance great is good. But that stuff ain't really what we were made for. We were made to be the example to show the other nations how to conduct ourselves on the earth in light of having the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Which is why, now that we've fallen from our our position of being at the forefront of the nations, now we're at the tail. You've still got people amongst our nation who are wicked 2/3 nigger jakes, but they've still got the ability to be able to sing, dance, and do all kinds of shit. But at the end of the day, while that stuff is entertaining, that's not really the purpose of why we're on the earth. The purpose of man is to fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for that is the whole duty of man. That's Ecclesiastes 12th chapter end. Right? 12 and 13, let's say. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. So that's really what we're supposed to be doing. All this singing and dancing and stuff, yeah, we would sing praises to the Lord, but what good is it if we're being wicked, reprobate niggers who are totally abandoning the law of our Heavenly Father and disregarding the fact that we are espoused to the Heavenly Father and going off and worshipping other nations? Because you got wicked 2/3 jakes who make it in this world, being rappers and entertainers and dancers and singers and all this kind of stuff, but they ain't giving glory unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. But they've still got fantastic voices. So in the end, that singing and dancing shit don't really count for nothing, man, in the grander scheme of things. Prime example, man. Michael Jackson had a brilliant voice. He could dance awesome. But at the end of the day, what did he do to further this truth? He was the king of pop. Okay, that's great. In this world, that's great. Because this world regards that shit. But in the world to come, that shit ain't gonna matter. Great example is that one of the elders of our camp said this, and it always stuck with me because it's a good point. He said there have always been singers and dancers and celebrities in every generation. Sports stars, singers, actors, there's no new thing under the sun. These people are back in a lot doing what they did in their past lives. But where are they recorded in the scriptures? Where does the scriptures talk about, oh, and then on this day, this particular singer got up and had a concert and he played to, 50,000 people and then went home. That ain't in the scriptures anywhere. Guess what? You know why? Because it didn't matter. It's not that it didn't happen. It did happen. It's always happened. There's no anything under the sun. But that's not what really matters in the eyes of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. What really matters at this time right now is prophecy and the elect. Now, you're going to have members of the elect who can do these things, who can play instruments and can sing and dance, and they can act, or they may be great, basketball players or football players or whatever. But guess what? They put that stuff aside in order to do the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai on this time, because you know what? That's what matters right now. When we enter into our rest in the kingdom, that's when we can have all the fun in the world and all the time in the world to pursue our interests. Because you know what? In the kingdom, we'll be able to do those things in righteousness. If you want to do those things right now on this side, guess what? You have to sell out. You have to sell out and you have to give glory unto Satan with your works. Now, for someone who has a talent, and you've got a spirit for this truth, there's going to be a conflict. Because you're going to know, you know what, man, although I want to do this or I want to do that, I'm going to have to do it fucking to give glory unto wickedness. I can't do that, man. I can't use the talent that Yahweh Hashem Yahshua gave me to promote wickedness. That's the crisis of character that you should have if you're of the hopeful elect. Now, a wise person would say, you know what, man, although I really want to be a great painter, or I really want to be a great musician and stuff, let me just fucking fall back, hold it down, do this work first, and then we get to play. Because you know what? That's what this time requires. Because we're in our punishment. Baruch 3 and verse 8 says, we are yet this day in our captivity. So why the hell do you want to be partying and living it up, while you're still in captivity? Really, you should be hastening to get free from the captivity, and then you can enter into your rest, and you can do all the things that you wanted to do, all your heart's desire, all your dreams, you can do them in righteousness. Now, not to say that you can't do those things now, you can, but just do it. This is me speaking, my advice to those who are listening, just do it in private. Because at least that way, like, let's say you like to write songs, like I myself, I like to write songs, I like to paint pictures, I like to do all this stuff. But you know what? I keep it in the closet. Like Michael Jackson, man. There was once upon a time when I was trying to make it in the visual arts world and, trying to make it as a singer-songwriter, well, more songwriter than a singer. But I realized that you can only ever go so far because Jake always comes up against that glass ceiling. It's kind of like if you've ever played one of those video games from, let's say a video game from the late 90s, say the PlayStation 1 era, where the processing power of the CPU, Central Processing Unit, in the PlayStation 1 days, what was that, 32-bit era? So it wasn't really that powerful, right? So when they used to create these like environments, they let you walk so far, then eventually you get to like an invisible wall and you couldn't walk any further. I don't know if any of you who played old school game, well, not so much old school, but early 3D games like PlayStation 1 era. There were a lot of games where you'd be running around and you think, oh yeah, I can free roam in this environment, but eventually you get to some fucking invisible wall and it's like, hang on a minute, I can't walk any further. Well, guess what? That's what we're under in this time right now as Israelites. We're under that glass ceiling, man. Now you can break through those barriers if you sell out, if you take your dirty backdoor deals. And when I say dirty backdoor, I'm talking about the dirtiest of backdoors. Use your imagination in terms of what am I saying? There's a term for that. What I'm alluding to. You have to do your backdoor deals, man. And even when you do that, none of these celebrities look fucking happy, man. None of them look happy, and they all realise that, hang on a minute, this deal gets worse every minute. Just like fucking Lando Calrissian in The Empire Strikes Back, you know. This deal gets worse and worse by the minute, man. That's what happens when you sell your soul to fucking Esau. And guess what? What did Matthew 16:26 say? Let's get that. And then I'll close out because I've been talking a lot. But Matthew 16 and verse 26 says, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? So think about it, man. You could sell out now, put out your hit tune, get to play fucking concerts and have millions of people shouting and screaming your name, or you could, you know, hold the L, man. You know what, man? This truth ain't too hard, you know. You need what you gotta do in this truth. Read the whole role, learn over Yahweh Shai, go out there and teach, you know, do your videos, and hold your L. You know what I mean? Literally, like, hold your L, man. A lot of people don't want to hold the L. Especially Jake. Jake want to have fun. Jake want to party. Jake want to be, you know, popping and living his best life now. But nah, man, hold your L. Wait ye upon me until the day that I rise up to the prey, as Yahushua said. Wait for him, man. And back to the original point of this lesson, keep living on your prayers. Because that's all we've got, man. Our hope in Yahushua, our faith in the words of Yahushua, and our prayers, man. So yeah, man, we literally are, in this truth, we are living on a prayer. Which just brings me full circle as to why I made this lesson, because that's the song I've been listening to a lot recently. And but yeah, man, these Edomites, man, they ain't got no flavour, man. They ain't got no salt. And you know, a tree by its fruit, man. As I said, Prince fucking William, yeah. Highest fucking caliber of education you could possibly get that money could buy. And my man look fucking awkward as hell. Can't even hold a tune. These Edomites are sad, man. But anyway, with that, giving all praises, honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Double honours unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and shalom to you, Akim, that are teaching this word with faith and truth and sincerity. I'm out for this, and I'll catch you on the next Lord willing. Shalom for now, and a ball. Shalom.